Hi, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories. Let's get started. Am I the antagonist for growing vegetables in my front lawn? We have a moderately sized house with a backyard and front yard. I hate lawns personally because I'd rather grow things on there, but my husband was concerned about the resale value of our home if we don't maintain a lawn. So I used raised beds to grow vegetables. This year he realized we were saving hundreds of dollars on groceries by growing our own, so he tore up the entire backyard, and we have been living completely off our garden. The only things we need to buy from the grocery store now are meats and grains basically. With food prices going bonkers, it's been amazing for saving money and the food tastes much better. But we have been running out of space, so I sold my rose bushes and flower bed front of the house and replaced it with lettuce and kale. Most of the front lawn is still intact, but where I used to have flowers I now have things we can eat. My neighbors have not been happy and someone called it trashy and ghetto-like to my face, and I've been told multiple times I'm ruining the community's property value. I'm not a part of an hoa and my garden is well maintained, so they can't do anything, but I'm worried they will come and rip up my garden. My husband has set up security cameras. Oh, and I'm also the one with a clothesline in my backyard, and they hate that too. I was called inappropriate for hanging boxes when my neighbor's son was also in the backyard. If your neighbors are important to you, you can consider creating a large garden that includes vegetables, perennial flowers, herbs, and shrubs. There are so many instances of front or backyard gardens that are little. It's a characteristic of Americans to prefer grass to vegetables that will keep them alive. Comment by team member Shannon. Now for the top comments. NTA. Honestly, I'd pay more for a house that came with a pre-planned garden. 100%. Lawns are a waste of energy and time as they're expensive to maintain, don't give back, and often aren't meant to grow where they're put. I love a flower garden, but the vegetable garden is more practical for sure. My friends have totally turned their yard into a fruit tree / bush and vegetable plot, and it is like a wonderland. Your neighbors sound awful. Put all the extra zucchini on their porches in the night. NTA, I think it's a wonderful thing to do if you have the space for it, and it's more useful than a lawn. Yep. Option head over to /r/nah lawns for similar stories. NTA at all. I live in a neighborhood w/no hoa myself, and we have lots of people who grow home gardens. Overall property value has skyrocketed, not because of the gardens, but clearly they are not stopping our good housing market. Your neighbors don't get to decide what your yard looks like. And as for the clotheslines, it's not inappropriate. There's nothing wrong w/that. Am I the antagonist for expecting my F20s, BF, M20s to stop peeing in bottles and leaving them in our room? Title basically says it all. He won't stop pissing in bottle cups. I've caught him now 3 or 4 times. I'm not talking 1 bottle. I'm talking like 4, 5 bottles in one area covered up and hidden. Powerade bottles, smart water bottles, everything down to a styrofoam cup. It disgusts me. The ammonia molecules floating in our room that we breathe in with every inhale make me cringe. We've lived together for about 2 years, but this just started when we moved in with other roommates and have our bathroom located upstairs. I already moved our Christmas tree because originally he was putting it in the windowsill, and now I just found it behind the Christmas tree box. This especially bothers me because I love that Christmas tree and would really like to keep it pee-free for many Decembers to come. Is this just a male thing? Why does he think this is okay? He specially stops me from cleaning up because I think he knows I'll find it, which is exactly what happened to today. I've been recovering from a surgery, so he blames it on that. But even before my surgery he still didn't want me to clean. Any help is useful. This is 100% serious, I'm not joking despite its outlandish demeanor. He says it isn't a big deal, and I smoke nicotine, so I shouldn't worry about what's in my lungs. Which is fair. But something about this really irks me. Am I the antagonist for expecting him to stop this nasty behavior? And no, he doesn't have a health problem. This only started when we moved here. TLDR, my BF won't stop peeing in bottles and leaving them in our room. I've asked him to stop multiple times. Am I the antagonist for expecting him to stop this nasty behavior? What else is he going to do if he's too lazy to go upstairs to pee, not allowing you to clear up? That is really too offensive. Better is due to you. Do whatever it takes to escape this man, kick him out. Flee. Comment by team member Parker. Now for the top comments. NTA. There is no reason for him to piss in bottles, period. The fact that he does not clean them up and acts like you are out of line for asking is a problem. I agree. Like, why are there so many filled to the top and he just is okay with it sitting there, breathing it in? NTA. This is the craziest behavior I've read about on Reddit today, and that is saying something. For me this would be a deal breaker. I'm confident you can find a boyfriend who is toilet trained. Haha, the last part is so funny. Honestly, I gasped that you said it was the craziest thing that you saw on Reddit today. He's reading the comments, and I'm so grateful he's realizing how crazy and disgusting this is. Hopefully he will see it's not just me. I have been known to urinate in a bottle, but for context it was during a winter camping exercise when it was -10 inside the tent and even colder outside. I'd urinate in the bottle while laying in my sleeping bag, open the tent flap, yell incoming, and toss the bottle outside. Presuming you live in a building with 4 walls, a roof, and indoor plumbing, there is zero excuse for this sort of ongoing behavior. Wibta, if I were to tell my wife I'd leave her over her refusal to drive. My wife and I, 28F, have been together for nearly 10 years. We got married very young and now have 2 kids together. The issue at hand is my wife refusing to get a license. It's become an ongoing topic of discussion that always ends her claiming she'll try harder and she never follows through. She has let 3 permits expire over the years and hasn't even bothered to attempt a 40H since the last expired in May. I drive her to and from work every single day because she is a breadwinner in our marriage and I stay home running a small business with our 2 kids. But over the years I've become resentful of having to drive her everywhere, especially when it interferes with the plans I have for the day, because I have to sit around and wait to take her places, like appointments for Miss Earth kids, grocery shopping, even just normal trips to the zoo or something. With the kids' sleep schedule, with me having to wake them to pick her up late at night, or even because of the demanding nature in which she tells me to drive her, even being angry with me when we are running late, annoyed when I'm feeling sick and don't want to pick her up, or any other reason that she doesn't have me outside waiting for her the minute she's off work. I have tried asking why she won't drive and have gotten nowhere with it. I even put my foot down and have refused to drive her, but she just started using Uber and it's costing us hundreds of dollars a month that we cannot afford. Instead of getting her license, she gets angry at me for not driving her and instead wasting money with Uber. I cannot continue with her being angry at me all of the time, and I cannot keep waking my kids and dropping everything I'm doing the minute she needs a ride. I'm so tired of it, and I have voiced this on many occasions. I have pushed her to go to therapy, which she did for a while, but she refused to bring up the driving thing. Eventually I made a comment about not enjoying driving her to therapy after she demanded I drive her during dinner, instead of asking just to have to wait in the parking lot with 2 kids for an hour, or to drive all the way home just to turn around and come back. And she snapped at me saying, "So you're mad that I'm going to the therapy you told me to go to?" Which is definitely not even close to what I said. I never used to mind much since she worked and I didn't. But 10 years and 2 kids later it is taking a toll. I thought she would get to driving eventually, as she always promised she would. Would I be the antagonist if I told her I'd leave her over this issue? I'm at my wit's end. NTA, the disrespect shown to you and your children on the matter is more important than the driving. NTA, focus on some solutions and communicate your feelings, because in the grand scheme, driving your wife everywhere is not worth giving up on 10 years of marriage and 2 kids. Comment by team member Taylor. Now for the top comments. Don't say it if you don't mean it. So, NTA if you say it and follow through. I had to drive my wife around for a week once. Screw that lol. Yup, don't say it if you don't mean it. Is this the hill you're willing to die on? If not, keep trying. YWNBTA. You've been incredibly patient with her and even suggested she go to therapy. Anybody would be frustrated by having to chauffeur around their able-bodied wife. Info: what is her aversion to driving? Am I the antagonist for throwing out my depressed son after my new wife moved in? Let me start off by mentioning I severely failed as a father. My ex, the mother, went to prison when my son Anthony was 3 and she lost parental rights. I did try to find a new mother for him, but he rejected any woman I brought home. It quickly became just me and him. I spoiled him way too much and made life way too easy for him. Now he's 36 and I didn't equip him for adult life. He still lives at home. He stays in his room most of the time playing video games that I've bought him. He has food everywhere in his room, dishes, urine bottles, and has recently had an accident where he threw up on the carpet in there and I didn't know until it started to smell. He said he got food poisoning, but I'm pretty sure he just overate. Besides, he didn't clean it for days. I have to clean up after him constantly, but this was probably my final straw. I've recently gotten married to my wife Sharon. She's always opposed how I let my son mooch off me, but since moving in has been urging me to do something. Then throw up incident sparked a last serious discussion to where we decided to evict him. I gave him a 30-day notice. He fought it and told me there was no way he could move out in 30 days because I hadn't taught him life skills. He said he was disabled from depression, but he hasn't sought out help. He demanded I pay for his rent for 6 months first, so he could get on his feet. I'm already paying for his car. I told him go sign up for Uber Eats or something and start there. I refused to pay for his rent not because I couldn't, theoretically I could, but I don't feel he will actually learn to respect a home and his own, the value of $1 of work, if I continue to give him everything. He did DoorDash for a week before getting fired from that. I don't know if I believe that, but I wasn't gonna force him to continue. I wasn't budging on the eviction. Today I changed my locks. He's sleeping in his car somewhere. Soon I'm going to stop paying on that, and he knows it. He's begging me to let him back home, and blaming my wife for being an evil stepmom, and throwing him out. I'm conflicted. He's homeless now, which isn't what I wanted. I feel like this is my fault, but that paying his rent would have only delayed the issue. Am I the asshole for this? You let down your son. Right now, you're still failing him. The excellent plan your new wife has to fix him. The following is a hint. He won't get independent by magic. It sounds like killing him is more likely. He hasn't made many efforts to assist himself either. Comment by team member Shannon. Now for the top comments. Why have you been enabling him for the past 18 years? Why buy him games and consoles? Why were piss bottles ever accepted? Info: he said he was disabled from depression, but he hasn't sought out help. What efforts did you make to try and help him with that before things got to this point? This is way beyond the pay grade of AITA, but something has to change. Obviously, I don't think you're on the wrong track. However, someone living in a room with urine bottles and vomit on the floor is potentially way beyond just depressed. If a professional hasn't seen him, that needs to happen. But I don't think you'd be doing him any favors by taking him back into that life. AITA, your son is severely debilitated due to your own failure and neglect, and now you've thrown him to the wolves with no recourse. So the very first time you put your foot down, you made him homeless. You made 0 attempts to teach him anything leading up until this point. You made this mess and then heaved it out the door after 35 years of making it worse and worse and worse. People will tell you you're not the a-hole, but your son has essentially been a victim of your terrible parenting and enabling for his entire 35 years of life. You baked this cake and now act shocked by the flavor? So yes, you should have signed him up for life skills classes, researched government programs or assistance, made therapy a mandatory condition of being able to play any video games or something. Instead of casting him into the street. This process could have taken about a year and should have been started long before your wife moved in. You'll have no shortage of people sneering about how he's 35 and you don't owe him anything. But he is a direct product of the environment you created. You chose this for him every day and offered 0 alternatives or ways out aside from abrupt abandonment. When you know yourself he's severely unwell. Normal, healthy people don't live in their own filth and hide from society. People like to talk a big game about how pro mental health awareness they are until they're faced with the often ugly reality of a person like this. Go ahead and only listen to the NTA responses to make yourself feel better about the profoundly terrible way you've treated your own son his entire life. You used him as an emotional support animal until you found someone to replace him. I would say the same of a pit bull that had been raised in a fighting ring. Nobody should be surprised that it bites. Am I the antagonist for demanding my brother delete recipes my sister-in-law stole from me? My sister-in-law Trixie, 29F, used recipes my friend created for me in her company cookbook. I only know this because she sent me a copy of the book. She has been working on the book for her boss for 3 weeks now. It is not gonna be a formal publication, but is to raise money for a local charity. I told her to take my recipes out of her book. I asked how she even got them, and she said she went through my recipe notebooks, which I was editing for my friend, to publish her own book. Trixie actually suggested a cookbook after hearing my friend was gonna publish one. Everyone in the company submitted a recipe and Trixie plopped my friends in. When Trixie said not going to delete it, I called my brother. I told him that Trixie took work my friend made for her own book and was passing it off as her own. I said if Trixie didn't delete the whole damn section I was gonna call her boss. This might have been said in rage, because I'm not sure how you even go about claiming recipes. I was just pissed and wanted my brother to do something. And my brother, who does not think things through, went into her email and deleted the email she sent to me. Then he factory reset her computer, thus deleting everything, which was not what I wanted to happen. But I guess solved the issue. Trixie called me in a panic saying that she doesn't have any copies of the book at all. She was doing it all on her computer and emailing it to herself. She needs to be done in a week and she wanted me to send her the document back. I did. Without my friend's recipes. She got super upset and said I'm making her look like an idiot. Her boss loved the cookies when she made them, and now she has nothing to add to the book. I told her she was lucky I even sent it to her, even edited, because she pulled a selfish stunt. Am I the antagonist? Why are people always playing the victim when they're the freaking thieves? I would have done what you did and still told her supervisor that she borrowed the recipe from someone who is in the midst of publishing it, because there are so many good and free recipes on the internet. Comment by team member Taylor. Now for the top comments. NTA plagiarism is a crime, and her stealing your friend's recipes while asking you to edit is a really weird choice. I'm not sure if she thought I would be flattered, but I absolutely noticed. Copyright infringement is copyright infringement. You have proof you had the recipes first. That's proof enough. NTA. Send her a cease and desist letter. CC her boss. Even if recipes were subject to copyright protection. It seems that Op's friend gave her permission to use them, and obviously recipes. If anyone, it would be the friend who have the copyright for it, not Opus. Yes, it would be the friend's copyright, but it's still copyright infringement. I took several media law classes BC, they were required by my degree, and one of the things they absolutely beat into you is trademarks, intellectual property rights, etc, etc. Because it's the most common type of legal dispute in my field. This is copyright infringement plain and simple if it's the friend's original recipe and she can prove intent to publish / that she is the owner of the recipe, both of which would be very easy to prove based on Op's information. Am I the antagonist for telling my partner I should have brought someone else during my surgery? Background: my 31F partner, 33 male, doesn't have the best relationship with my family. He feels like they sometimes leave him out, like when taking pictures or stuff like that. When we get together with them, he talks and jokes with them and everything seems fine. But then when we get home, he will say that my sister was taking pictures of everybody and didn't include him. That's just an example. Anyway, so I had a minor surgery today and my partner and I arrived at the hospital at 7 AM. I turned off my phone and had told my family to call my partner to know my status. The hospital was running a little behind. My surgery was supposed to start at 9, but didn't actually start till about noon. My family knew it was going to last about 5 hours, so around 11:30 30 They started calling my partner to know what was happening. He didn't answer. I found this out later. After I woke up around 3 they called my partner several times from the hospital so he can come keep me company and he didn't answer. Finally they found him about 30 minutes later and had him come in. He gave me my phone and my family group chat was flooded with messages about my partner not answering and if anybody knew my status. My sister ended up calling the hospital and they told her everything. She informed my family that everything was okay. I asked my partner why he didn't answer the hospital when they called him 4 times. He said doesn't answer numbers he doesn't know. This made me kind of mad. Why would the same number call you multiple times unless it was something important? I then asked him why he didn't answer any of my family's calls since they were worried. He said they always exclude him from stuff and that they were my family not his and they could wait till I woke up to talk to them. This of course made me incredible sad and I told him if I knew he wasn't going to answer their calls I would have asked somebody else to be with me today. He got really mad and said I didn't appreciate anything he did. That he had been there all day and for what? Now, I would consider him to be somewhat stupid and incompetent. How dense and egocentric can someone be? Even simple surgeries carry risks. So if he can't treat you with respect throughout one, he's not the proper person for you in life. This one needs to be let go. Now. Comment by team member Alex. Now for the top comments. NTA. I don't answer phone numbers I don't recognize either, unless my loved one is in the hospital, and I'm expecting a call. Like, what is the worst that could happen? He has to listen to a 10-second spiel about his car warranty before hanging up. Is that not worth it to get an update on your status? He used your surgery as an excuse to exact revenge on your family. He wanted them to worry that something had happened to you. Whether his feelings of being left out are warranted or not, this is not a healthy way of dealing with them. Think long and hard about this one. I know. The nurse called him 4 times. I simply don't understand why he didn't answer. It made me really upset. You keep saying partner, so I hope that means the breakup doesn't need to involve lawyers, not the a-hole. Yes, we aren't married. Was he there as your next of kin / power of medical attorney? If so, does he realize that the hospital could have been trying to contact him for life or death decision making? NTA he was petty and cruel with your family because he felt left out by them, and worse than that, he refused to answer the calls from the hospital because he didn't recognize the number when he knew full well you were having surgery in a hospital where he couldn't possibly have every number saved. I would have wanted someone else there too. Someone that acted like a responsible adult, notified my family of any updates, and liaised with the hospital in an appropriate way. He's mad because he doesn't feel appreciated, but he did nothing to be appreciated for. Dropping you off at the hospital is a bare minimum.